There we go. That's nice. So let me see. Did it do it on? I don't know.
So you.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Oh, let's adjust this just a little bit. Nope, not that way. Well. Can't get it, but it's okay. Oh, all right. Well, I guess that works too. Oh, it's a little blurry. Man, I tried to turn it down. Oh, forget it. Could you move this? Oh, it's on there too. I see it. Okay. All right, cool. So, thank you guys for joining me on my podcast. So, my podcast is going to be about, well, it's not just necessarily going to be about spirituality, but I do want to start with the basis of spirituality because I think a lot of people get it confused as to what spirituality actually is. So let's just talk about that. So spirituality is, some people think it's like religion, but it has absolutely nothing to do with religion at all, actually. So spirituality is where you wake the fuck up. Okay, that's basically what spirituality is. It's where you simply just remember who you are. Okay, so like spirituality and midlife crisis. So like, what do they have in common? Like, so when you go on like your spiritually awakening journey, um, most of us go through this through when we're in like our 30s or our 40s. So people consider it to be like a midlife crisis because when you go on a spiritual journey, you no longer see the physical realm for what it is. So a lot of people just think like they're fucking crazy, like, but you're not really crazy. You're just spiritually awakened. Okay. So, like, what really happens when you spiritually awaken is that nothing within your physical world makes sense. Okay, like it's like, so you got to understand, like, since we could think, we have been brainwashed, manipulated, and programmed to believe what the government wants us to believe. Whatever they put on television, which is exactly what it is, television, that's what they want us to believe. So when you begin to go on your spiritual journey, you question everything because that's exactly what I did. I question everything. I still do. I question everything cuz I need answers on I need answers. Okay, like I need to know what it is that is happening, what it is that is going on. I need to know. So you begin to question literally everything, okay? Like, so you want to know the secrets about spirituality and being spiritually awakened? What it does is it heightens your sensibility, your clairvoyance. So let me explain that. Now, you begin to see far beyond the spiritual realm. Like the color of your skin, what people look like, it's all an illusion. And what's the definition of illusion? Well, if you look it up, it's something that is likely to be wrongly perceived or interpreted by your senses. That's what an illusion is. So, you know what's so crazy is like people thought Kanye was crazy when he said that slavery was a choice because I mean in reality it really was. So, let me just say this. Now, I would say probably about this is probably about 2018, 19. My mother, she actually wrote a book about this. Okay. It's called The First Nation of Africa. I highly recommend y'all read that book. But she talked about what was going on in slavery because it's not what we perceived it as. It's not what we were taught when we were in school. Okay. So within the book, she goes on and she explained, but what she was writing in the book, it was so crazy because we're like, what? Like she told us this. She told us like that slavery was a choice. And we're like, what? Like she's fucking crazy. Like, but lo and behold, like she was really telling the truth. Like now it's like, I'm like, okay, like, all right, well, but all right. So back to what I was saying, like an illusion. Now, Me, I am big on conspiracies, astrology, numerology, all of that shit. Like I believe 99.9% of that because it's most likely, not even most likely, but 99.9% of conspiracy theories are true. So the other 0.1% is the bullshit that the government fills us with. So you see, in our world today, a higher percentage really doesn't matter because now, so here, let me just put it like this. So when you really think about your life and what you're living, 95% of our lives are driven by our subconscious, and the other 5% is our ego. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, because our egos, that's what make us who we are. That's what gives us our uniqueness. It's our feelings. It protects our feelings, but it also guards our wounds. And what our egos does is it keeps us in that low vibrational state. This is where we're just vibrating off of a low vibration. Now, what I was saying about like the government. Now, okay, so let me back this up a bit. Now, so here's what I really want to bring to y'all attention because like with me being a spiritual healing coach, it's not just necessarily spiritual, it's just about healing. Okay. So, well, let's just talk about how, bro, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm live. Go ahead. You gotta go. I see you. All right. Sorry, that's my kid. Okay, so where was I? Well, you know what? Back this up. So we could talk about the government because I really want y'all to know how I feel about the government. I hate the government. Like the government keeps us, they lie to us. They whatever we see on TV is exactly what it is that they want us to see on TV. They program us to believe that they program us to believe what it is that they want us to believe. Okay. Spirituality puts us in the position to be able to look past that. Okay. So you are able to see things from a different perspective. Okay. So what spirituality does is it governs that law of oneness that we are all the same, that none of us are different. And with us looking at each other as the same, there's no jealousy, there's no envy, there's no hate, there's none of that. We're all just one. And like I said before, like the color of your skin, what you look like, it's all an illusion. It's not necessarily like it's we're all just one. And that's where spirituality puts us at. It gives us that basis of we are all just one. So when you look at the world and you look at everybody and just that oneness, it's you look at people how you look at yourself. You love people how you love yourself. So, well, let's just talk about energy because energy what I do with energy is I do energy clearing and healing. So with energy, your energy comes we are all specks of energy. So let's just start there. Okay. Like because energy never dies. If you know anything about physics, energy never dies. It cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be redistributed through each other. So when you think about death, a lot of people think that when we die, that's it. And that's not it. Like we never die. We're energy. You energy never dies. You can't destroy it. So we just get redistributed. We all get reincarnated. Please don't think that this is your first life because it's not. Like you have been reincarnated. You chose to come here. And when people say like like you pick your parents, you literally do because you go into a soul contract when you get reincarnated and it's like, okay, now I chose this life. But So here, let me tell you about how I actually went on my spiritual journey. So most of us, not all of us, but most of us, when you go on a spiritual journey, you usually have like you either experience like some type of traumatic event or like an eye-opening event. So let me tell you what happened with me. So I was this is probably like a couple years ago. My child's father, his nephew, which is his sister's only son, he was murdered. Okay. And I'm talking about a good kid, respectful. He wasn't in the streets, nothing like that. And he gets killed. Just graduated high school. He wasn't even out of high school a month. Okay. And I remember the crazy thing is that I remember being at his funeral and the pastor was reciting a scripture out of the Bible and he was saying something about, you know, if you do this and if you do that, you'll have ever you what is the eternal life? And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, wait a goddamn minute. Now I don't want to offend nobody because I know people get crazy about their religion, but just hear me out for a second. So I'm like, I'm sitting there at his funeral, and I'm like, so you telling me I'm doing all this just to reap the benefits after I die? Like it just did not make sense to me, like, at all. Nothing that he was saying made sense to me, like, so it was like I'm like, "Okay, there has to be something else to life besides you just working paycheck to paycheck and dying, and then you go to either heaven or hell, and then you live for eternal life." That shit doesn't even make sense to me, like, it just didn't make sense to me. So, I remember sitting on my porch like one day because I was just like so fed up with life. I was just like, okay, like nothing is making sense to me. I'm working a job that I fucking hate. Nothing is making sense. And it was so crazy because at this time, like I learned how to trade. Like I still know how to trade, but it was so crazy because it was like, okay, I was making money, then I was losing money, but I was making losing more money than I was making. Like nothing was making sense to me. Okay. So it was like, all right, you know what? There gotta be something else to this. There has to be something else to life besides you just literally waking up, going to work, going to sleep, and doing it all over again. So I remember this one night I was sitting on my porch and I actually started crying because I was just like, okay, you know what? Something there has to be something else more to life than just this. So I started doing some research and if you're in like this, if you are like me where you want to find out information, you want to know answers, and you want to know what's going on in the world, you know who Billy Carson is. So I came across a video that where he was talking about like the Bible and stuff like that. And then like after that, I just started following him and I was watching his videos and stuff like that. And everything started to make sense when he was, especially when he started talking about like energies and vibrations and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to learn a little bit more about this. So I had bought this program. I think it was called like Liberating You, something like that. It was this program where you go through basically like a spiritual journey. Like the program helps you go through this spiritual journey. This is where you are unlocking your inner self. You're trying to find yourself, stuff like that. But the thing about it was the program, it didn't work for me. And I'm like, okay, so why isn't this working for me? So uh, as I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, and I'm like, okay, you know what? All right, forget it. I'm gonna just go back to my normal fucking life, working my job that I fucking hate, trying to do what it is that I feel like my ego should do. So after going on, so no, this was actually probably about a couple of months ago, like where I just gave up again. I gave up on life and I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't even care no more. But then like I remember I went outside and I was standing in the grass. I don't know if you guys are familiar with grounding, but like that's where you where you go into nature, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're all energetic human beings. So when you connect to the earth's energy, there's actually multiple benefits in grounding. Because now, okay, so here's a good example. Kids playing in the dirt. Okay, like, no, you don't want your kid playing in the dirt. It's messy as hell, but there is benefits to children playing in the dirt. What it does is it releases serotonin. Serotonin, that is our happy hormone. So a child playing in the dirt it releases, it triggers the brain to release serotonin. So when you think about it, when you're in nature, these are the benefits that you get. You automatically feel happy, you feel better. It Grounding is, and actually it's a natural pain reliever. So if you have high blood pressure, if you have a headache, you could go outside and literally stand in the grass and feel better. But okay, so back to what I was saying. But all right, so boom, I went out in the grass. I was standing in the grass, and I'm just like, you know what? I really need some guidance here, okay? Because by the time I had got to that point, I was at like, religion wasn't serving me no more. Okay. It just wasn't there for me no more. Like, a lot of people are so bent on religion, but religion was another way, another thing that was created to control us. Okay. I mean, like I said, I don't want to offend nobody about their religion, but religion was created. It was just created as another way to control us. Okay. So now listen here. So boom, I goes in the grass, I'm grounded. I'm just like, you know what? I need to know what is my soul's purpose? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing in this world? So I'm just like, okay. And I remember like the next day I was scrolling on Facebook, and then like this ad popped up to be a spiritual healing coach. And I'm like, okay, where did that come from? So I keep scrolling, a couple days later it pops up again, and I'm just like, like, where did that come from? But like most of the ads on Facebook is usually like the ads, if you Google something, then up pops the ad on Facebook. But like this ad, it just kept coming up. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just take a look at it. So I clicked on the ad. I read the advertisement that she was doing. I'm like, okay, that sounds okay. But the thing that really attracted me to it was when I was reading it, it was talking about how when you become this spiritual coach, not only are you going to heal other people, but you heal yourself. Okay. So I'm like, okay, I know I need some healing. So I'm like, all right, boom. So I watched one of the videos of a lady who had already went through the program. And I'm just like, okay, all right. I'm convinced. So I went through the program. I did the spiritual healing. And let me tell you something, it was one of the best decisions that I ever made in my life, okay? Now, so let me actually tell you a story about what happened to me, and like this was like really like the reason why I was just like, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need some healing. So now when I started going on my spiritual journey, I also decided to eat healthy. Okay, so there's this guy on Instagram. I'm pretty sure that y'all seen him. I know that y'all seen him. The dude with the dreads. I can't remember his name. I think his name is like Yahweh or something like that. Y'all know him with the tattoo on his forehead. Like y'all know who I'm talking about. I know y'all know who I'm talking about. So, because he always be talking about how we're not supposed to eat meat, we just supposed to eat fruits and vegetables, talks about our lymphatic system and all that stuff. So, like I was watching him, like I studied him for like a month to like just watching his videos, figuring out, okay, so boom, I changed my diet. So I stopped eating meat. And within this process, I lost weight really fast. Like changed my diet. I started going to the gym. I started exercising. I started losing weight rapidly. Like I remember I put a post on Facebook. I lost like 14 pounds in a month. And I'm probably down more. I haven't even gotten on a scale. But the crazy thing about it was this was the first time in my life I had ever lost weight in like a healthy ass way, like changing my diet, going to the gym, exercising, stuff like that. Every single time before that I had lost weight, I had went through some type of traumatic experience. Like my child's father was murdered. After that, I went through a bad breakup because of some shit that I did. But I mean, like I still went through a bad breakup. And then after that, the partner that I was dealing with, I'm dealing with this narcissistic ass man. So it's like every single time that I lost weight, it was due to some type of traumatic event, some type of stressful event that I had went through. So I remember looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, wow, like, like you're losing weight like fast. Like, but the crazy thing is, even though I was happy that I was losing weight, my brain, because I never healed from any of these traumatic events that I had experienced in my life, my brain thought that I was going through another traumatic event. Like when I tell y'all, my motherfucking emotions was everywhere. I was fucking angry. I was sad. I'm like, why the fuck do I feel like this? Like, I'm losing weight. I'm going through this program. I'm trying to heal myself. And I'm just like, why do I hit a fucking like a brick wall. That's exactly what I felt like I hit. Then it hit me. Like it took me a couple of days because I stopped listening to the program. Shit, I went and had a fucking drink because I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So yeah, it hit me. I'm like, your brain is really processing this like you're going through a fucking traumatic event. Like, because this is like our brains can differentiate when we go through like I know that it sounds so crazy, but like our brains can they can't like so just think about like when you think about the past or the present, you think about it now, like as if it's happening right now. That's why there's no future, there's no past, everything happens right now. If you've ever heard anybody say that. So my brain couldn't defend like it couldn't differentiate that my weight loss was in a healthy way. It was looking like, "Oh, okay, well, I know what happens when she loses like, when your body loses weight rapidly, you're going through a traumatic event." So that's exactly what my brain was doing. I was experiencing a traumatic event all over again. So this is why healing is so important. It's so important. And a lot of people don't understand that. And they think that, okay, I experienced a traumatic event, over time I'm gonna get over it, I'm gonna get through it. But no, we really don't. We don't get over well, I mean, some people are able to get over traumatic events, but a lot of us are not. We are not able to get over these traumatic events. And what happens is, so let me tell you what happens on an energetic level. Okay. So, what are energy? Now, our energy, we're all energies. Okay. We're all little specks. We live in a big ass ball of energy. Okay. The universe is a big ass ball of energy. So, what happens is we are these little specks. There's 7 billion of us. We are these little specks of energy that are on the earth. So, our energy transfers from each other. Okay. So, like, if somebody is, here's how I'm gonna put this. If you're sitting in a room with 5 people and they're all negative, guess what? You gonna be the 6th. Okay, that's how energy works. Okay, our energy transfer, you can attach your energy to people. People can attach their energies to you. So let me give you an example of that. So now just think about like if you have an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that just like won't leave you alone. They just keep fucking bothering you. And it's just like, I moved on. I thought you moved on. Like, why do you keep bothering me? Well, they keep bothering you because your energy is still attached to them. Okay, like our energies literally attached to our energies attached to people, places, experiences, objects. Yes, that's how crazy energy is. So now with trauma, what happens to you on an energetic level is it lowers your vibration. You got to realize, okay, vibration, energy, frequencies, those are all real. Everything carries a vibrational frequency. Okay. So what trauma does to you on the energy level, on that energetic level, is it lowers your vibration. So when it comes to like manifestations and stuff like that, like this is what I was talking about when I went through that program, when I went through the first program, like how I said I went through it. I went through it for the wrong reasons. I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I can manifest all this money and yada yada yada. But manifestation happens on a subconscious level. So if you are subconsciously in a low vibration, that is exactly what you are going to attract. Okay. So what trauma keeping you on that low vibration, you attract exactly what it is that you don't want. And I know that it sounds crazy. So like the crazy thing about trauma is a bad motherfucker. I'm gonna tell you that. Okay. A bad motherfucker. And this is the reason why I chose to specialize in it, because trauma is a beast. Okay. It's a beast, and it puts you in places where you really don't want to be. Addictions. That's how addictions formed with trauma and stuff like that. So now the way that trauma works is when you experience it and you don't heal from it, you carry it. Okay. We carry trauma from our past lives. We carry trauma that we occur in this life. We carry trauma from our ancestors. So we are born with trauma. Like if you experience trauma in your past life, or you died in a traumatic way, you're going to bring it with you in this life. And if you occur trauma, you're going to carry that. You carry trauma from other people as well. So if your parents experienced any trauma before they had you, you were born with it. If you experienced any trauma and then you had children, your children are born with your trauma. That's how crazy trauma is. So, but here, let me explain that to you just a little bit better so that y'all can understand really how trauma works with our DNA. So, I'm gonna tell you about an experiment that a group of scientists did on mice, actually. So what they did was they took a group of mice, they put them in a cage, and they electrocuted them. Okay. So the experiment was to see how trauma impacts our DNA. So after a while, they stopped electrocuting the mice, but they would just turn the electrocution machine on, and the mice would still react as if they were being electrocuted. So what they did was they reproduced the mice several times. Okay, five generations later, the mice that had never been electrocuted would respond to the electrocution machine in the exact same manner as the mice that had been electrocuted. That should tell us something right there. We can pass trauma on to generations. So our kids, their kids can be born with our trauma. Okay. So that is why it's so important for us to heal. Okay. You have to notice that you've experienced trauma. You have to acknowledge your trauma first. Okay. Because I know a lot of people, it's hard for people to acknowledge that they have experienced trauma. And the reason why that is because especially if you endure childhood trauma, it you don't want to make you don't want to it's the avoidance, because you don't want to make it seem like you're throwing your parents under the bus from admitting that you experienced traumatic events in your childhood, like or it's almost like you're tattletelling or something like that, so you avoid talking about the trauma that you experienced in your childhood, or you avoid, you minimize it so that it doesn't look like you're throwing your parents under the bus, because your parents, our parents were, if you had a, yeah, okay, my parent was a good parent, but I still experienced some traumatic events. So, like, with the spiritual healing, this is what I really want y'all to know. It's not necessarily like spiritual, okay, like some beaming God or something like that. Spiritual healing, all healing is self-healing, okay? Like with spiritual healing, this is where you get down to the bottom of what it is that you are really going through. Okay? Because we experience a lot of stuff within our lifetime, and then it's like we can't figure out why we keep experiencing the same shit. How do I keep attracting the same partner? How do I keep getting put in situations where I keep experiencing the same stuff? That's how, on the energetic level, that's how we keep experiencing the same stuff. When you leave one partner, you think, okay, yeah, all right, boom, I'm done with him. I'm a go and find me a next partner. Then you end up 2, 3, 6 months into the relationship and you're dealing with the same fucking person. All they got is a different face. Okay. But that is why though, you have to do the energy work, the energy work. You got to do the energy healing and the energy clearing to be able to be like, okay, you know what? Now I'm healed. I can move forward. I know that I am going to start to attract a lot more good in my life than bad. Okay. Now, let's talk about our brains for a second, because our brains are like computers. So whatever you tell your brain, is going to look for confirmation. So this is why I said that everything carries a vibration. Our words are frequent. Well, the words that we speak carry a vibration as well. So if you constantly tell yourself, like, I'm stressed out, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not worthy, or whatever it is, your brain is going to look for confirmation. You are giving your brain permission to be like, okay, you know what? Well, let me just go ahead and bring this into your reality. So you have to be very cautious of how you talk to yourself as well, because literally that's what you do. You give your brain permission to find out whatever it is that you're saying to make it true. It looks for confirmation. So just imagine if you constantly tell yourself that you're a millionaire. What do you think your brain is going to do? it- your brain is going to look for ways to make you a millionaire. It's going to put you in situations. This is where you get the bumping heads with people. You be like, "How? Like what? Like where did you come from?" Like, yeah, this is how these things work on an energetic level. So, but back to what I was saying about trauma, because this is all going together. Okay, so like nobody consciously wants to recreate trauma. Okay. So you have to understand that a lot of things that happen to us on a subconscious level. Like I said, 95% of our lives are driven by our subconscious. The other 5% is influenced by our egos. Okay. Now, you got to be careful with your ego, because our egos, like I said, our egos are what makes us who we are, but it protects our feelings, but it also protects our wounds. So, when it comes to when you get defensive with people and stuff like that, like where you feel the need to always, like, not necessarily take up for yourself, but when you become so defensive about stuff, and it's like, you know what, okay, like, yeah, I need to check this person, when in reality you really don't. You could just, just let them go. But you know checking somebody is lowering your vibration, because now it's like you're stepping outside of yourself, and you're like, okay, so what's up now? And it's like, when you really could just be like, okay, go ahead, go on about your business, and then you stay calm. Because when you get in that defense mode, that's where you get that, your heart might start racing, your palms might start sweating. It's like, okay, now I got to check this person, when you really don't have to do that. You could just be like, okay, you know what? That's cool. And walk away. And there's nothing wrong with walking away. So this is why, so spirituality, it really matters in our world today, because what when you open up your eyes to a different perspective, you're not looking at the physical realm. You're not looking at what's put on TV. You are coming from within. And if you know what this is your third eye, this is your intuition. So when you spirituality teaches us that everything you have is already on the inside of you. Okay, you don't have to go looking for things to make you happy. You can make yourself happy. So this is what I was talking about in my post, like I had posted a couple of months ago, where I talked about self-love, self-soothe, and self-heal. Okay, self-heal, this is where you heal yourself. Okay, you have the ability to heal yourself. You have the ability to self-soothe yourself. That's where you are in total control of your emotions. And when somebody talks to you out of pocket, you don't have to react. You could just be like, okay, cool. All right, you know what? That's fine. I'ma just leave. That's where you self-soothe. You control your emotions. And then self-love. Let me tell you about self-love. Self-love is a bad motherfucker, because when you are able to love yourself, and I mean, and I'm not just talking about just saying like, oh, I love myself. Like, no, I'm talking about self-love. Okay. Where you accept yourself, flaws and all. Nothing about you there's nothing that nobody could say to you that'll make you look at yourself, that'll make you doubt yourself. This is where you wholeheartedly love yourself. And when you love yourself, you love everybody else just as much as you love yourself. Okay? That's why spirituality governs that universal law of oneness. So when you see people, like, how I look at it is, if you can pick apart a person from head to toe, that's how you really feel about yourself. That comes from within. If you on Facebook scrolling all day and you looking at pictures of people and you pick somebody apart from head to toe, that is how you feel about yourself. That negativity, that is energy that comes from within. That's within you. Okay? So people could you could tell yourself a million and one fucking times that you love yourself, but if you can judge other people, if you still talk about people, if your energy is just negative, you don't love yourself. That's really how you feel about yourself. When you talk about people ignorantly, oh, what do she got? All of that, just like I said, the color of our skin, what we look like, that's all an illusion. So if you could pick somebody apart like that, that's how you feel about yourself, okay? And let me tell you something. That's not where you want to be. That's not the energy level that you want to be, okay? Fear. Fear is one of the lowest vibrational frequencies that you can vibrate on, that you can experience in life, is fear. That's one of the lowest. Okay, that's around with judgment and all the rest of that, anger, all of that. Those are all low vibrational frequencies. Okay. Love, joy, abundance. Those are all high vibrational frequencies. And this is the reason why we are not taught this. Okay. Like, we should, when we go to school, we're taught a bunch of bullshit that half of us don't even remember by the time we graduate. Cause I know I don't even fucking use algebra. I don't even know why I was taught algebra in the first place. But like, unconditional love is is one of the highest vibrations. If we operate on off of unconditional love, if you love your neighbor how you love yourself, the world would be a totally better place. I'll tell you that. It would be a magnificent place because now, not to switch the subject here, but so we have higher ups that notice, okay, like, this is why I say I hate the government so much, because they know this. They know all about frequencies, they know all about vibrations and stuff like that, but their goal is to control us. So, when you think about it, how do you control 7 billion people? Well, first you gotta divide them, okay? Because, like, divided we stand, what is it? United we stand, divided we fall. So, divide them. Okay, this is ancient history that we talking about here. Divide and conquer. How do you control 7 billion people? First of all, you divide them. And then after you divide them, you pump them with fear. Okay? You pump them with fear. Everything that revolves around this world is fear. Okay? So it's like the fear of not being able to take care of your kids. If you work a job that you absolutely fucking hate every day, you get up and go to the just the thought of thinking about going to work gives you a fucking anxiety attack. But you do so because you have to take care of your kids. You got to pay your bills. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to. So that creates fear. Okay. Once you pump them with fear, now you make them hate each other. Now you make them fucking hate each other. After everybody is sitting there looking at each other, comparing themselves to everybody else, nobody is operating at high frequencies. Okay. So with spiritualities, because I'm gonna go back to spirituality. So with spirituality is just knowing that you have the ability to be able to operate at that higher frequency. Okay. You open up yourself to a whole different knowing when you operate at a higher frequency. And it's actually a wonderful place to be in because now now you're not looking at the world in fear. You're looking at the world from a place of abundance, from a place of love. Now you can actually manifest what it is, the you can manifest the life that you desire. When you think about it, you literally think yourself into the life that you want to live. Just like I said, our brains are like computers. So whatever you tell yourself, that your brain is going to look for confirmation. So we have to stop telling ourselves that we're going to do this or we're going to do that instead of saying I'm going to do this, just do it now. Instead of saying that I'm a millionaire, be a millionaire right now. Tell yourself I am a millionaire. I'm a millionaire right now. Like there's no past or present. It's just it's all being right here present in the moment right now. Okay? So now well, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about so much. But no, for real though, like I literally lost that's so crazy. I literally lost my train of thought. All right, so you know what? All right, I lost my train of thought. It happens. I'm a mother of 4. Okay, now, you know what? No, but seriously though. Now, what I was talk okay, so like what I got going on like for the spiritual healing coaching side is um so on my website I put on there where you can go and book a 15-minute consultation. Okay. So the 15-minute consultation will really be about how we'll talk about what it is that you want to do. Okay. Because I'm just here as a spiritual coach, I'm here to facilitate your healing. Okay. So the 15-minute consultation, I highly recommend anybody who wants to step into their healing journey to do so because I don't want to waste nobody's time. I don't want nobody else to waste their time. I don't want nobody to waste their money. My reputation is very important to me. So I want people to understand that you can heal the healing comes from you. All healing is self-healing. Okay. So if you want to heal, I'm there to facilitate that. I'm there to help you do that. But I can't do that if you really don't want to heal. Okay. So the 15-minute consultation, that's where we kind of get to know each other. We figure out what it is that you want to do, how it is that you want to go on your healing journey. I'm not a therapist. Okay. If you could sit next to a therapist all day and they could well, how does that make you feel? Yourself to death. Okay. That's not what I'm here to do. Okay. We're here to get down to the root cause of why it is that you feel stuck in life, why it is that you feel like you're not going anywhere or you're missing your purpose in life. So that's what the 15-minute consultation is really for us to sit down, me and you, we're going to have that chat, we're going to talk, we're going to see what it is that you want to do with your healing and then we go from there. Now, moving forward, we'll just, we'll go through the sessions, we'll go through your healing, we'll do that trauma work, we'll do the energy work, we'll do the energy healing, we'll do the energy clearing, we'll balance your chakras, we'll do all of that. So like I said, you guys can go on to my website. When you're ready, you can book your 15-minute consultation. We'll go through that. We'll see what type of match we are for each other, and then we can heal each other together. I know. Did it end? No, it still ain't end.